Hello, welcome back to Kay's in the Garden. I'm Kay, and we have brought the garden indoors. Okay, welcome back to another video. Today we're indoors. We need to show our starts a little love today. So we're going to be up potting them into larger containers that I'm hoping we can keep them in those containers until they go outside for planting. So in a moment, I'm going to turn you around to show you what we have for our starts and kind of explain what we're going to be doing. We're going to try to get outside today, but there's no promises. It is bright and early, and so I figured I'd get up, get started on these plants, and then hopefully this afternoon we can get outdoors. Because it is so hot outside, there's not a lot to do. Right now we're doing a lot of demoing, restructuring, just getting things ready for fall and amending some beds. So I think what we're going to do this afternoon is go ahead and demo the drying beans, not only in the flower area where we have the zinnias, but also in that side bed on Bedside Lane where we have the cucumbers. I went out yesterday and was taking a look at everything, just kind of walking the garden. I did harvest a few things. I got some eggplant, I had one okra and a few peppers. I did harvest the shishito peppers that were on the patio in the green stalks. But I also noticed the cucumbers that we had over in Bedside Lane. They were looking so great, and we had some pest damage. It looks like it's spider mite. I'll try to get a picture here or show you when we're demoing it. I think we're going to go ahead and get all that pulled. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the shelling peas. We're going to just do a second round when things cool off. It's just too hot, and I was hoping to get some growth. I knew they weren't going to flower or produce any peas, but I figured at least we could get some growth started. But it's just too hot. It's just way too hot. So that's the plan for today. We're going to up pot. We're going to come back a little bit later this afternoon once the sun comes up, and then once it actually sets a little bit, we're going to get outside and do some demo. And then we're going to just continue to prep and get ready for our fall planting. So we have about 2 weeks left in the month of August, and I am getting pretty excited. Hopefully, things will cool off a little bit. I was asking my husband, I was like, do you think that maybe September 1st things will be cool? And he was like, well, right now we're having, forecast for 100-degree temperature. So hopefully we'll have this dramatic change in weather and things will kind of cool off a little bit. But the box right here behind me, that is the bed that I told you guys we're going to be putting together. And we're going to be getting that over along the fence where we're going to be pulling up that one bed. So maybe next video we might get to that. Maybe 1 or 2 videos from now we'll get to putting that bed together and getting it all set up over where we remove the green stalk and where we have that one bag we have the cardboard boxes on. All right, so with that being said, let's get to work. We have a lot of plants that we need to up pot. Not as many as I would like, but we do have quite a bit. And then depending on the time, we may drop a few more seeds. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you guys, but I'm not opposed to, for fall planting, buying all of my starts. I've really been kind of teetering on the idea of just starting things that I probably can't get in my local nursery, and then just buying most of my more common things. Like I'm definitely going to be buying Brussels sprouts. None of my Brussels sprouts germinated. So I'll probably go this weekend because we need to get those planted. We're going to pull all the tomatoes over on Growback Alley because that's where we're going to put Brussels sprouts. And I think we're going to get Brussels sprouts in the ground. We have a lot of things on the list that's coming up. So stay tuned. We have a couple product reviews coming up. And so I'm pretty excited about the next probably 30 days. We have a lot on the list. So stay tuned. All right, guys, let's get to up potting these plants. All right, guys, so it's always kind of hard to figure out where I'm going to prop you. I know it's boring watching the same image, but we're going to start off here with our soil. This is some of the soil that I had on the previous, when we were potting up our seedlings. And so I've added some worm casting, and yes, I should have on gloves, but I don't have gloves on. So this is worm casting, And I've added a little bit of AgriThrive, which is a balanced liquid fertilizer. And so I just added that in there because I didn't want to go through bone meal, blood meal, and all that good stuff. So we just added a little bit of liquid fertilizer. And AgriThrive is really good for root development. I think it's a little bit higher on the P and the K than it is on the nitrogen. And so I do want to mix this up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is add moisture to it. Here is the soil that I'm using. It's more of a mixture of like cocoa coir. It's not an actual, it's more of a compost mix. And then it has a little bit of perlite in it. And I have added a little bit of extra fertilizer with the worm casting and the AgriThrive. Now, the reason why I'm doing that, when you're planting seeds, they do not require any type of additional amendments like the NPK. It just needs some soil. And each seed is different. So for the most part, some of them need soil. You can probably start like hydroponics. They start seeds and just, without soil. But they just need the basics like, light, warmth, soil, water. They don't need any nutrients. Now, when they start getting their true leaves, which is the third and fourth leaf, that's when it's really starting to need some nutrients. Now, I will show you when we get to a couple plants where you can see they're starting to yellow, which is why I'm now adding a little of worm casting, which is a very light, I think it's like 1% nitrogen. So the plants are really young. They don't need a whole lot. Right now, we're just trying to get them to size up a little bit and develop some really good root systems, which is why I added a little bit of the AgriThrive. Now, I probably, just to tell you how much I added, maybe 1/8 of a cup, maybe something like 1/8 of a cup, I would say. All right, this soil is very dry, as you can tell. So I'm going to go grab some water, which I should have had some already over here. And I'm just going to pour it in here and let it absorb the moisture. And then we're going to start filling up some of our containers that we're up potting into. All right, I'm going to let that water sit in there while I tell you guys a little bit more about what we are going to be up potting. All right, so starting in this tray, our broccoli was one of the first to germinate, and we've been doing pretty good with our broccoli starts. So we have some Wortham 29 in this little 6-cell pack here. We have 2 containers right here that didn't germinate that were Wortham 29s. It actually did germinate. They just died. So it's okay. We have 6, but we lost 2. And then the rest of these are all Green Magic. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Green Magics. Let's see if we can keep all of them. We have 6 over here of the twisted cauliflower. And we have twisted cauliflower in, I should say 5 of the 6 cells here. And then on the 12 cells here, we have Ford Hook Swiss chard, which I did try to direct sow this out in the garden and it didn't germinate. So I'm pretty excited to see the success on that. And in the back, 18 cells, we have top chop collards and flash collards. So we're going to get all of these up potted. I didn't up pot anything or plant anything into these. The crazy thing is I did up pot these into these cells, and these are they're a small cell. I mean, I really should have probably up potted them into something much larger. A lot of times you actually start seeds in these kind of trays, but I didn't have a lot of soil at the time. I didn't want them to stay in the little bitty trays. Plus they were multiple in each cell. You guys were with me when we seeded these. So I went ahead and up potted these into here. They're doing great, and we're going to get them into much larger containers. the containers that we're going to be up potting into is the Bootstrap Farmer. I believe these are the 3-ounce containers. We also have the 2-ounce containers that I will be up potting some of the smaller plants in, but I have them both here just in case. So all of these are from Bootstrap Farmer, including the 10-20 tray that this is in, but these small 6-count sales are just some that I got from maybe a previous purchase at a store or something. So this is not Bootstrap Farmer, but the actual 10-20 tray is. All right, so let's go ahead and get the soil finished mixing, and then we're going to start filling these containers, and then we're going to start up potting. The plants. Okay, so this is really kind of soaked up this moisture good that I don't have to do a whole lot of mixing, which is great. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill these without dropping soil all over the floor. I'm not going to fill these containers up all the way because this is a very large container for such a small seedling. And remember now what we're trying to do is keep the roots moist, not the seeds. When we were planting with seeds, the seeds were on the top, so we had to top water to keep them moist. Well, now we don't want the top of the soil to be wet because that will cause your plant to damper off. And I'll show you an example or what it looks like when your plant is dampering off. What we want to do now is just keep the bottom portion of the soil moist. So now what I would do is bottom water. I'm going to be pouring water into the bottom of the 10-20 tray to allow the water to be soaked up from the bottom through these vent holes in the center section here. That way the bottom half stays moist. We don't want it soppy wet. We just want it to stay moist. So just to save some time, I'm going to go through and fill all of these up. Well, not fill them up, but add soil and get them in a spot. And then we'll just kind of come back in and transplant the seedling. Now, once these plants get much larger, I can always come back in and add soil, right? And raise the soil. So that's why I don't want to have to up pot these again. I am ready for, well, I guess August really should have been a break. However, we have so much to do in the garden to prep that it's really not a month for a break. That's kind of when the hard work really begins. Okay, so we got all of these containers filled. We have 18 containers here, and some of these plants, like the Ford hook, we might even get 2 plants per container. All right, guys, I hope you can see. Every one of these containers, for the most part, maybe 1 or 2, is double planted, but every one of these have 1 plant. And so I usually just go into the corner with the chopstick and I just pull up. And so you can see it's a really nice long root system. And I'm just going to start over here. Oh, let's see if we can start where you can see. All right, I'm just going to come in here and make a hole large enough to get that entire piece in. I don't want to knock off any soil. I'm trying to have the least amount of disturbance to the roots. Let me switch hands so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to drop that into the hole and push it down. And I usually just use my chopstick to kind of help me with that a little bit. And then you're just going to get that soil pushed down around it. All right, so that is our first green magic that's been up potted. These are the first leaves. They're called something, they have an official name. I just call them the first set of leaves. And then you'll see where you start getting additional leaves. These are the true set of leaves. And then we'll continue to get more leaves that look like this. The first leaves that come out from when they germinate, on almost every plant, they look very similar. So sometimes it's kind of hard to tell from what plant to what next plant what it is. We're just going to keep going. I just go into the corner, hopefully not to disturb too much of the roots, and I lift up. Another thing that I could possibly do would be to lift this container up, but all three of these rows are stuck together. So you can kind of squeeze the bottom and kind of gently guide it out. If the soil is still a little wet, it will kind of stay together. And so I just need a bigger hole and I can drop the entire thing down and then cover it up. Okay. Plant number 2. If I feel like it's not coming out, then I'll try to help coach it out a little bit. Hope you guys can see. I feel like my hands are blocking your view. So you can see there's some root systems in there. Very light. That's why I need to start fertilizing. I probably should have started already. I think I did give it a light round of fertilizing. I can't remember. I haven't really been in the mood for a start. If you keep in mind, like during the winter, you're excited to get your spring seedlings going because you've had all winter. You haven't been doing anything. But when fall comes around, you've been in the heat. You've been out in the garden every day. Sometimes you're just thinking, when is vacation? These little inexpensive trays. I mean, guys, I always try to look for an opportunity to save a little money. So if I can reuse something, I will. And these are probably on their last leg. Now, did they do a good job at starting the seeds? Yeah, sure did. You may see me grab the plant by the stem. I'm not really pulling. I'm just holding it so it doesn't fall out of my hand. So don't pull by the stem. Just kind of guide it out. So I'm pushing up underneath and just kind of, you can see it almost kind of pops up. And that was a good one. You can see the whole thing kind of popped out. And that's going to just slide right into that hole. There's a lot of soil, so I might put a little bit of back soil on that. Okay. All right. So our first round of green magic, and we're not finished. Let's see how many more so I can kind of plan the spacing on this. This is why I have 2 chopsticks. I didn't realize I'd set that there. It's been sitting there the whole time. Okay. I have 4 more. Okay. Let's see. I may try to get a couple with 2 in it. We're going to see how this works. It went in really great. Okay. All right. And I have 2 more, which I will get both to this container. Get that root system. That looks nice. See that? You may see me pushing down a little bit to get I don't want any air pockets in the soil. So when you see me pushing down a little bit, I'm not like squeezing it into the soil, but I'm just making sure that it's not any air pockets. I mean, the soil can be, it's not going to hurt their roots as long as you're not tearing them out. So, all right, I do give it a gentle push. All right, now because I have 2 in each one of these, I might use some of this soil to backfill, but because I have 2 in here, what I'm going to do is, as these grow, they're going to be kind of full. I'm going to move them around a little bit. Okay. All right. So that is our green magic. I'm going to put it here and I'm going to put it here because this lets me know this entire row is green magic. And then these 2 are green magics as well. All right. Let's keep it moving. I have 4 really good Wortham 29s and 2 small ones. So I'm probably going to do those 4 in an individual pot, and I'll put these in one pot. All right, so I actually changed my mind. I'm going to put a large and a small one, a large and a small one, and then 2 will be by itself. All right, so this is going to be one that's by itself because I have 2 right here. I watered these probably yesterday. You don't want to water them for, I don't know, a day if you're in an up pot because then your soil will be a little bit more firm and it will stick together a little bit more. All right, this one was a little leggy, and what that means is you see how long the stem is? It was actually kind of reaching for the light, so we call that leggy. We're just getting a little soil from these empty pockets, and we're just going to add that. Give it a little bit more stability. I wish I could have got a little bit deeper, but it's fine. We'll just add more soil. All right. Okay, let's keep it moving. All right, this one's going to be 2. So we're going to get a small one in the corner. I really shouldn't have watered these yesterday. Okay. The key is to make sure your hole is large enough that you're working with. All right, if we lose the smaller ones, I won't be mad, but let's just try not to lose them. And we have 2 more. We're going to make this one 1. Guys, to be honest with you, I'm making this a lot harder on myself than I need to. See? All right, we're going to put a small one there. And guys, it's okay. They're not, I mean, they're fragile. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to be throwing them around and pulling and tugging on them, but hey, they don't break. Well, they do. Let me stop. Just be careful. Especially when they have a really good root system like that. Let me know if you can see that. I don't know if when they have a really good root system like that, they're pretty secure in his soil. I'm going to knock a little bit of that. I didn't mean to knock that much off. Okay. And it's okay to bury them a little deep. They're not like tomatoes and peppers, but it's okay to get rid of a little bit of the legginess. All right, so this is the Wortham 29. I'm going to put a tag here in the back. That's where they end. And then I'm going to put a tag right here in the front. This is where they begin. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 worth in 29s. I have 6 of the twister cauliflowers. So we're going to get these all in here. So let me just make a hole in here. I would like to have all broccoli in one tray and all cauliflower in one tray, but depends on how things germinate. It may not always end up that way. So how are things going in your garden? Have you dropped seeds? Are you guys just going to purchase your starts? What are your plans? Are you even planting a fall garden? Some people tend to take off fall and winter, but to me, I can't. This is when the good stuff grows. Don't get me wrong, it's all good, but this is when you get your collard greens, mustard greens, broccoli, and cauliflower. Yes, beets, your onions. We're going to get garlic, and I get to garden with very little pests. Now, it's cold outside, but I can put on a jacket. I can't walk around on YouTube with no clothes on. So, to me, I really enjoy planting year round. I love what I get in the spring and summer, but man, between the pests and the heat, whoo. Now, the pest in the wintertime is the ice and cold temperatures. All right. Well, I thought I had 6 of these, but I actually have just 5. This one's really small. Okay, let me show you. Here's an example. I'm going to sacrifice this one. Well, I'm not sacrificing it. It's sacrificed itself. All right, so let's see if you can see this. This is the stem. So whenever you water too much on if the soil that's touching it has too much water, it will squeeze off, and that's called dampering off. It kind of shuts itself off from, I don't know if you guys can see that, from in focus. This is a very light beginning start of it, and it's hard to get nutrients beyond that. This one looks somewhat decent, but I don't think it's going to make it. So we're going to just sacrifice that one. All right, so I'm going to put this here, and I might need to add a little bit more soil to that spot. This one's really low. All right, I can always add more later. So this entire row is twister cauliflower. Let's get another tray, and we're going to get our greens, our top collard, our flash collard, and we're going to get some forward. Oh, I have some more twisty cauliflower over here. Well, look at that. Okay, so I have a few more twisted cauliflowers in here. So let's see if we can partner up here. Sorry. All right, so oh, that's a nice root system. Let's definitely get you in here. Now this one, I must have reseeded some, because if you notice, I don't even have true leaves on that. I just have the first set of leaves on all of these. So I must have reseeded these, or maybe they are late bloomers. Not sure. But let's go ahead and get these up potted with a little nutrients in the soil so we can get some really good cabbage. Nope, cauliflower. And I'm going to see if I can squeeze one in this corner. I have a small one right here. Man, these have some really good root systems in it. And guys, some people say wait till they get their true leaves before you start up potting. Hey, these are my seedlings. We'll see how they go. If they turn out okay, that's great. If they don't, I have a nursery that sells twisted cauliflower. And we are just having fun over here. If I don't try it and see if it works, then hey, how do I know? All right. Okay. This one looks like it's dampering off. This one looks like you can see it a little bit easier. Look right where the soil and the stem. Can you guys see that? Okay. Well, we're gonna let that one go. All right, so we got this completed. We got 2 rows of broccoli and we have 1 row of twisted cauliflower. Okay, guys, I went ahead and just prepared a second tray. These are the same size as the white, the 3 ounce, I believe. However, I just have black. They're black instead of white. The whites are new ones. The black ones I had from last year and the year before. So we're going to go ahead and get these Ford hooks. On the Ford hook, I have 2 trays of 6. So I'm going to double up because I only want to do 1 row here. I have lots of collard greens that I want to get in here. So I'm going to just double up each of the containers with a Ford hook. Now, I know some of you are probably looking, saying, that's not how I do it. That's fine. Some people don't pot up at all. Some people will wait till they get 6 and 7 set of leaves. Some people will only put 1 plant in a pot. I don't have the luxury of having 1,000 pots, so I do have to use more than 1 plant in a pot. All right, guys, so we have another tray I potted, and this is our collard greens and our Ford hooks which charred. So we're going to add a little water. I'll pick up a container and I'll pour water into here till I probably have maybe a ½ inch of water across the bottom of the full 1020 tray. The soil is wet. I don't want a lot of moisture, but I do want it to soak up some water to kind of help settle the soil. So we have this tray and we do have the broccoli tray that we just finished. And so now we have those 2 trays. They can go back into the garage under the grow lights. All right, so we got the trays into the garage on our grow station. I'll take you out there as soon as we finish here and let you take a look at that. You probably saw me adding soil back into these cells and thinking, why is she doing that? Well, we're going to up pot these seedlings. So we started some extra seedlings. We have some cabbages. This is a regular Swiss chard right here. We have one Long Island broccoli, Brussels sprout. Let's see. We have some red cabbage in the back. We also have some kohlrabi, some white kohlrabi and purple kohlrabi. So we have quite a few things in here, and I'm bringing you a little bit closer. So for example, right here in our Copenhagen cabbage. So say that 3 times. Here in our Copenhagen cabbage, you can see I have multiple starts in this one small container. So I'm going to take these out and I'm going to separate them and I'm going to transplant them over into a 6 or 12 or 18 cell container. Like these 3 are connected and these 3 are connected. But they're divided into 3 sections by groups of 6. But as you can see, this entire row is my Copenhagen cauliflower, broccoli. Girl, get it together. So this entire row is the Copenhagen cabbage. And in this one cell, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 with this little small one right here. And then each of them has probably got at least 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be a lot of cabbage. I'm not mad at it. Again, not all of these will make it to the garden. I am horrible with uppotting. I'm horrible with maintaining my plants. I forget to water them. I overwater them. I just feel like, man, they look dry. They look thirsty. So I will add a lot of water and they end up dampening off. So I plant heavy so that I do end up with a great crop in the end. I have quite a few kohlrabis, quite a few. We are going to get all of those up potted into here, and then we'll get this added back into the garage. I'm not going to take you guys along while I do this. It's going to be the same process. You've seen me up pot many times. All right, let's head out to the garage and see what's happening out there. Okay, guys, so it's pretty bright because, of course, we have the grow lights on. Just to kind of give you an idea, here's my grow station. I have some extra trays up at the top. The 2 pots here is what we just up potted together. The broccoli, the cauliflower, the collard greens, and the Swiss chard. And then once I come and up pot what we just looked at inside, I'll add it here, and then I have an extra tray that I can put here. We also have some more things that we need to up pot. This is some more cauliflower, and we have some broccoli rapini over here, and some purple cauliflower. I mean, we still have some things coming up, but as you can see, I'm not doing a very good job at keeping this moist. It's a little dry. Sometimes I have to reseed. Sometimes they come up just fine. We have some chives right here. We're going to get those into a larger container. Oh, I also have some additional items over here, which is calendula. We have some kale blend here. I have some poppies in the back and more calendula. You guys know I'm not great with onions, so those are my onion starts, or I should say my 2 onion starts. But anyway, we're going to work on that. And you may hear a fan. I do have a fan here that's blowing on the seedlings. One to imitate wind so that we get a really strong stem. And then we have the lights that emulate the sun. And then we have heat mats. However, I don't have the heat mats on because it's hot already. So we don't need heat mats. Here's our sweet potato harvest we have down here. Curing, and it's probably been maybe a week to 2 weeks, I'm not sure. So I have the fan circulating on them as well so that they don't get hot and sweaty and moist in here. That's the grow station, and that's what's happening with the starts out here in the garage. I do have the lights on a timer. They do go off. I think they stay on for 8 hours. They go off for 8 hours or something like that. I'm not sure. I can't remember how I said it, but they go on and off so that the heat lamps don't just burn up the plants. All right, guys, I've been meaning to show you. This is where I have my straw flowers. Aren't they pretty? We're going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me as we potted our starts. I know that's probably not the most exciting video, but it's also very educational. For those that are new to gardening or those that are new to maybe fall planting, here's an opportunity for you to see. Now, my way is not the only way. There's lots of you out there that start from seed, and you have great ideas and suggestions and processes on how you do it. I just wanted to share you how I process my seedlings and how I pot them and how I go about the process. Now, every single time may be different. I may do something different in the fall compared to the spring, or I just may forget how I did it last time and I'm doing something different. It's all trial and error, but the goal is to try, of course, to repeat success each time. With that being said, I don't get too hard on myself if something doesn't make it. And I do celebrate my wins. I encourage you to do the same. All right, guys, if you hadn't had an opportunity to like the video, please do so. Add a comment. Share with me and share with others how you are getting ready for fall. Have you started seeds? Are you up potting? Is it successful? What are some of the lessons learned? Share with a friend. Of course, they're wanting to know all this information as well. And then most importantly, subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.